We've got some wipes as well. You don't need to shower.
What the are you doing in my chair?
What do you mean, what am I? I'm Chapati G. I'm the ultimate boss man. I owned a corner shop back in the 30s, mate.
I don't give a when you own the shop in the 30s, why are you here and who are you, darling?
This is...
I say get rid of all of the food.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Maybe keep the bra.
Keep the bra.
I like that, but this is all going to be housing development.
Yeah, she's an American, my American friend.
Okay, let me change into your accent so you can understand.
Come on then, mate. Don't
about with me. Out of my shop, yaar, and you can get the out of here too.
You've just seen Boss Man handling his customers and showing us exactly why he is boss man of his shop. In football, the boss man is the manager and is the most significant individual of any football club, and their responsibilities include selecting the team for matches along with their formation, planning the tactics and instructing the players on the pitch, motivating players before and during the match, delegating duties to the coaching and medical staff, scouting talented players for possible integration into the first team, buying and selling and loaning players in the transfer market, and dealing with the press and the media. It's a tough gig. Previously, I made a video on the greatest football team and I looked at the periods in which each team was most dominant. During the research, I realised that some of the clubs were managed by some serious individuals. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the most successful managers, explore their careers and look at their achievements in terms of silverware and other significant factors that have contributed to their managerial success. This could get really heavy, but it will work out in the end. Done. With all that out of the way, who's the top boss man? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you like what you see. We are new and really need your help. Please do the honours and hit those buttons. Go on. They want you to as well. Cheers. John Stein, more commonly known as Jock or Big Jock, was a Scottish football player and manager. He was the first manager of a British team to win the European Cup with Celtic in 1967. Stein also guided Celtic to 9 consecutive league championships between 1966 and 1974. Stein played for Llanelli Town in Wales, but returned to Scotland with Celtic in 1951. He enjoyed some success with Celtic, winning the Coronation Cup in 1953 and a Scottish and League Cup double in 1954. In 1957 he retired from football due to ankle injuries. Stein started his managerial career in 1960 with Dunfermline, where he won the Scottish Cup in 1961 and achieved some notable success in European football. After a brief but successful spell with Hibernian, Stein returned to Celtic as manager in 1965 to become their most successful manager to date. After a brief stint with Leeds United, he managed Scotland from 1978 until his death in 1985. During his time in management, he won a total of 26 major trophies. This included 2 trebles for Celtic, and remember, Stein was the first manager of a British side to win the European Cup. Jock Stein is widely acknowledged as one of the most influential managers in the history of British football. In contrast to his predecessors, he was actively involved in training his players, a tracksuit manager. And whereas training had previously consisted of mainly running around the track, he introduced practicing with a ball into training. He is considered a football visionary, in particular for his time in Celtic, where he transformed a side lacking direction and having gone almost 8 years without a trophy into the best team in Europe, all whilst playing entertaining, adventurous football. He was years ahead of his time. Stein was hugely respected by his peers and a massive influence on the next generation of managers who would follow in his footsteps, such as those who played under him like Billy McNeil, Bill Shankly, Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness, Alex McLeish, Gordon Strachan, and those who worked under him as coaches like Jim McLean, Walter Smith, Craig Brown, and in particular Sir Alex Ferguson. Arsene Wenger is a French former football manager and player who is now the head of global development for FIFA. He was the manager of Arsenal from 1996 to 2018, where he was the longest serving and most successful in the club's history. His contribution to English football through changes to scouting, players training and diet regimes revitalised Arsenal and helped the globalisation of the sport in the 21st century. After a modest playing career at amateur level, Wenger obtained a manager's diploma in 1981. Following a period at Nancy in 1987, Wenger joined Monaco. The club won the league championship in 1988. In 1991, Wenger guided Monaco to victory in the Coupe de France. In 1995, he moved to Japan to coach J-League side Nagoya Grampus 8 and won the Emperor's Cup and Japanese Super Cup in his first and only year. David Dean, who was vice chairman of the club at the time, had a eureka moment.
Arsene for Arsenal. It's destiny.
It made logical sense, and in 1996 Arsenal appointed Wenger. His appointment was greeted with lots of scepticism from the English media and press and his players.
How much are the players looking forward to Arsene Wenger arriving?
There was very little known about him. He was foreign and he last managed in the Japanese league. These were some of the headlines back in the day.
Some mistakes were made.
In 1998, he became the first foreign manager to win the Premier League and FA Cup double. Wenger guided Arsenal to another league and cup double in 2002 and won his third league title in 2004, which earned distinction as he guided his team to an undefeated domestic league season, something only achieved once before in English football by Preston North End 115 years previously. Arsenal went on to break Nottingham Forest's record of 42 league matches unbeaten and went 7 more matches before losing in October 2004. Wenger is the second longest serving manager in the Premier League for almost 22 years. In his time as manager, he won a total of 21 trophies. Arsene Wenger achieved legendary status in his 22-year reign at Arsenal. But the Frenchman was more than just a football manager. His vision for football changed the face of the Premier League forever. It is fact that Wenger helped revolutionise English football as we know it to this day. Whether it was the integration of players from foreign countries, the adamance to play attractive and exciting football, or unearthing young players from obscure parts of Europe, mainly French, Wenger was a pioneer. Wenger's first signing at Arsenal was Nicolas Anelka from Paris Saint-Germain for £500,000. Real Madrid bought him just 2 years later for £23.5 million, and the profits from the sale financed the new £10 million London Colney Training Centre, a first in the UK at the time. Wenger demanded a specific brand of football from his players: fluid movement, crisp passing and attacking in numbers. They became the team that everyone hated to love and loved to hate. This is what Brian Clough had to say about Wenger's team. Under Wenger, Arsenal became the first team to field an entire starting 11 filled with foreign players. They were seen as more technically gifted and suited for the kind of football we wanted to play. Plus they were cheaper too, with English players attracting hefty price tags. Fast forward to the present era, and in the 2019-20 season, 63% of the players registered in the Premier League were classed as foreign. Wenger may not have started it, but he made the idea of signing players from abroad seem attractive, and still it is to this day. Josep Pep Guardiola is the Spanish professional football manager and former player who's the current manager of Premier League team Manchester City. He is considered one of the greatest managers of all time and holds the record for the most consecutive league games won in La Liga, the Bundesliga and the Premier League. He was a defensive midfielder and played in a deep-lying playmaker's role. He spent the majority of his career with Barcelona, forming a part of Johan Cruyff's dream team that won the club's first European Cup in 1992 and 4 consecutive Spanish league titles from 1991 to 1994. He captained the team from 1997 until he left in 2001. Guardiola went on to play with Brescia and Roma in Italy, Al Ahly in Qatar, and Dorados Sinaloa in Mexico. He also played 47 times for Spain. After retiring as a player, Guardiola briefly coached Barcelona B and won the Tercera División. He took charge of the first team in 2008. In his first season, he led Barcelona to the treble of La Liga, the Champions League and the Copa del Rey, becoming the youngest manager to win the Champions League. In addition, Pep took Barcelona to win the Spanish Super Cup, the UEFA Super Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup, a full house of honours, and the first Spanish team to win all 6 available trophies in a single season. He ended his 4-year Barcelona stint in 2012 with 14 honours, a club record. In 2008, President Juan Laporta appointed Pep, but there was some resistance due to his lack of first-team experience, and Jose Mourinho was also in the running, who had recently left a successful Chelsea job. Pep took the risky and unpopular decision to sell Ronaldinho and others, and brought in players like Keita and Dani Alves, alongside a host of La Masia graduates, Sergio Busquets, Pedro and Jeffrin. Gerard Piqué returned from Manchester United and integrated them with fringe first-team players Xavi, Iniesta and of course, Messi. The team was unstoppable and ate everything up in its path, whilst playing the most beautiful and attractive football ever witnessed. In 2010, 3 players who came through the club's youth academy were chosen as the 3 best players in the world in the FIFA Ballon d'Or Awards, a crazy achievement for players who came from the same football academy. Guardiola joined Bayern as manager in 2013. He won a Bundesliga in each of his 3 seasons as Bayern manager, including 2 domestic doubles, but no Champions Leagues. He left the Bavarians for Manchester City in 2016 and guided them to a Premier League title in his second campaign in charge, breaking numerous domestic records as the team became the first to attain 100 league points. To date, he has won 4 Premier League titles, 4 EFL Cups, 2 Community Shields and an FA Cup, including a domestic treble in the 2019 season. So far in his career, Pep has won 32 trophies, and this is likely to increase over the next few years. Guardiola had no prior managerial experience at senior club level before he began his professional career as a manager. His tiki-taka style of play was designed to force opponents to concede. His main objective is to play a possession-based, aggressive pressing style, which he perfected during his time at Barcelona and uses to this day at Manchester City. His teams usually consist of technically gifted players, including goalkeepers, that are very comfortable on the ball in possession and have the ability to make decisive and intricate passes, especially in the defender's final third. Just have a listen to what Rio Ferdinand had to say about this Barcelona team he had to face in 2009 and 2011.
Like, they were the best.
Yeah.
Probably the best club team I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
That's ever walked this earth. They were the best team.
Jose Mourinho. He is among the most respected coaches in the last 20 years and a name that will be forever written in the history book. Mourinho's playing days were obscure to say the least. He was a little-known midfielder whose playing career was over in a flash, ultimately choosing to study sports science and attend coaching courses to remain in the game. Mourinho's father Felix had been a professional goalkeeper for 20 years and had even played for Portugal once. Mourinho was a prospect at Real Ave, but sadly he did not feel that he had the special ability to make it long term and went to play for his dad whilst he was manager at Belenenses. Mourinho decided to continue his studies in sports, then eventually worked as a PE teacher, but opportunities in football came to him as a youth coach at Vitória Setúbal. Soon his big break came in 1992 when he landed a job with former England manager Bobby Robson, who had been appointed at Sporting Lisbon and was keen to have an English-speaking local coach on his staff. That association is how Mourinho initially became known as the translator, although it was quickly clear that he was much more. He went on to follow Robson from Sporting to Porto in 1993 and then to Spain when his mentor landed a job at Barcelona as head coach. Mourinho stayed at the Camp Nou when Bobby Robson was replaced by Louis van Gaal and continued to develop as a coach and motivator, working with some of the world's best players. By 2000, age 37, he was ready to branch out on his own and was appointed at Benfica. But this was short-lived as he resigned after only 9 games when the club elected a new president. Mourinho then impressed at União de Liège in 2001 and was poached by Porto 18 months later. During his very first press conference, he stated unequivocally that the club will win the next season's league title.
E em condições normais vamos ser campeões. Em condições anormais também vamos ser campeões.
He was telling the truth, and he delivered one of the club's most successful seasons. They won the domestic treble and the UEFA Cup. The following season, he upgraded and delivered the Champions League. This guy was special, as if I had to tell you that. He said so himself. This was at his first press conference after signing for Chelsea.
I think I'm a special one.
He won 2 Premier Leagues, an FA Cup and 2 League Cups in 3 seasons at the club before he departed in 2007 due to reports of disagreements with club owner Roman Abramovich. In 2008, following the exit of Frank Rijkaard at Barcelona, Mourinho wanted and applied for the job, but Juan Laporta chose Guardiola, an inexperienced coach. This didn't go down well with Mourinho. He felt he had the correct experience and he also worked at the club previously. It was said that Cruyff did not feel that Mourinho's style of football was a correct fit for Barcelona. Mourinho joined Italian club Inter Milan, where he won Serie A twice, including the European treble of Serie A, the Coppa Italia and the UEFA Champions League in 2010, a first for an Italian club. This made him one of 5 coaches that have won the European Cup with 2 clubs, and a year later earned him the first FIFA Coach of the Year award. Mourinho then moved to Real Madrid in Spain, where he won La Liga in 2012 with a record points tally, becoming the 5th coach to have won league titles in 4 countries. Mourinho left Real Madrid in 2013 and rejoined Chelsea, where he won another league title and the League Cup, but was dismissed in 2015 after a poor run of results. Remaining in England, he was appointed at Manchester United and Tottenham respectively, but his tenure at both clubs was relatively short-lived. Despite this, he won the Europa League, the League Cup and FA Community Shield in his first season at Manchester United and led Tottenham to the final of the League Cup. He was soon hired by Roman, leading them to win the first Europa Conference League. This made him the first manager to reach and win the final of a major European competition with 4 different clubs, the third manager to have won all 3 major European club competitions and the first to achieve the UEFA treble by winning the Champions League, the Europa League and the Europa Conference League. To date, Mourinho has won 26 trophies. Mourinho has been noted for his tactical prowess, game management and adaptability in different situations. Teams under Mourinho's management typically demonstrate defensive awareness as well as quick transition ability with the ball through midfield, in particular down the flanks. A common feature of these teams is playing with 3 or more central midfielders, as Mourinho has stressed midfield superiority as crucial in winning games. Luis Felipe Scolari, also known as Filipao, Big Phil, is a Brazilian football manager and former player. He is the current manager of Atletico Paranaense. Scolari was a defender during his playing days and notably represented Caxias before moving into management in 1982. He led the Brazilian national team to a FIFA World Cup in 2002 with a team consisting of Ronaldo, Ronaldinho and Rivaldo. He guided Portugal to the final of the Euros in 2004, which they lost 1-0 to Greece, and a 4th place finish in the 2006 World Cup. Scolari also managed Portugal through the 2008 Euros, but resigned after a 3-2 loss to Germany in the second round. After a return to club management at Chelsea in the Premier League, Scolari was hired again as manager of the Brazil national team in 2012.
I'm glad to be back.
He led them to victory in the 2013 Confederations Cup and to the semi-final in the 2014 World Cup. Brazil suffered their most humiliating loss since the 1950 defeat to Uruguay by 7-1 to Germany in the semi-finals. He was shown the door.
Get this guy out of here!
In 2015 he started work at Guangzhou Evergrande and went on to claim both the 2015 Chinese Super League and the 2015 AFC Champions League in his first season with the club. To date, he has a total of 24 trophies to his name. In almost every team he has coached, Scolari has earned credibility. To achieve this, he conducts his team with an iron hand, not being afraid to remove stars from the team. Using this strategy, he generates team unity and consequently achieves success. He is regarded as one of the best Brazilian football coaches of his generation, which was proved many times by awards like Brazilian Coach of the Year or South American Coach of the Year. Carlo Ancelotti is an Italian professional football manager and former player who is manager of Real Madrid. Regarded as one of the greatest managers of all time, Ancelotti is the most decorated manager in UEFA Champions League history, having won the trophy a record 4 times as coach.
I am a record man!
Twice with AC Milan and twice with Real Madrid. He is the only one to have managed teams in 5 Champions League finals. As a player, he won the Champions League twice with AC Milan, making him one of 7 people to have won the European Cup or Champions League as both player and a manager. Ancelotti is also the first and only manager ever to have won league titles in all of Europe's 5 top leagues. He has won the FIFA Club World Cup twice and is also the manager to have won the most European Super Cups, having won the trophy on 4 occasions, again with AC Milan and Real Madrid. Nicknamed Don Carlo, Ancelotti played as a midfielder and began his career with Italian club Parma, helping the club to Serie B promotion in 1979. He moved to Roma the following season, where he won the Serie A title and 4 Coppa Italias, and also played in the late 1980s Milan team, with which he won 2 league titles and 2 European Cups, among other titles. He played for the Italian national team on 26 occasions, scoring once and appeared in 2 World Cups, finishing 3rd in the 1990 tournament. As manager, Ancelotti worked for Reggiana, Parma and Juventus between 1995 and 2001 before rising to prominence with Milan. He went on to win both the 2003 Champions League and the Coppa Italia. The following season he won the Scudetto with an Italian record of 82 points from 34 games. And 3 years later he won the second Champions League final with Milan. In 2009 he managed Chelsea, winning the domestic double of the Premier League and the FA Cup in his first season. In 2011 he became the manager of French club Paris Saint-Germain. The following season he won them their first Ligue 1 title in 19 years. Following success in France, Ancelotti was appointed as Real Madrid manager. In his first season he won their 10th Champions League final, La Decima, and also won the Copa del Rey. Despite his success at the club, Ancelotti was dismissed in May 2015. He became the manager of Bayern Munich in 2016, where he won the Bundesliga title in his first season, and following stints at Napoli and Everton between 2018, he returned to Real Madrid, where he went on to win the La Liga Champions League double. During his time in management, Ancelotti has won 24 trophies. Ancelotti states that his leadership style stems from his character. He is a democratic that doesn't like to simply impose his way of being on others. He believes that his way of operating earns him buy-in from his players, which means that they're more likely to get behind him and give their all, rather than if things were simply forced upon them. This approach makes his players accountable. Ancelotti will often ask the players tactical questions and opinions on the match strategy, knowing that they will understand the strategy more if they've been involved in the decision-making process. He wants the environment to be that of adult to adult, and players and staff to have their opinions, feel valued, and help in designing both the vision and the strategy of the team. Mircea Lucescu is a Romanian professional football manager and former player who is currently the head coach of Ukrainian Premier League club Dynamo Kiev. He is one of the most decorated managers of all time. Seriously, he is. Lucescu is one of the most successful players of the Romanian League Championships, having won all of his 7 titles with Dinamo Bucuresti. Earlier in his career he played for Stinta Bucuresti and Corvinul and made 70 appearances for the Romanian national team, which he captained in the 1970 FIFA World Cup. Lucescu has coached various sides in Romania, Italy, Turkey, Ukraine and Russia. He is well known for his 12-year spell in charge of Shakhtar Donetsk, where he became the most successful coach in the club's history by winning 8 Ukrainian Premier League titles, 6 Ukrainian Cups, 7 Ukrainian Super Cups and the 2009 UEFA Cup. He has also won trophies in Ukraine with rival Dinamo Kiev, as well as Divizia A titles with Dinamo Bucharesti, Rapid Bucharesti and Turkish Super League titles with Galatasaray and Besiktas. Lucescu has a number of individual awards both in Romania and Ukraine and was awarded the Manager of the Decade in Romania. In 2015 he became the 5th person to coach in 100 UEFA Champions League matches, joining the likes of Alex Ferguson, Carlo Ancelotti, Arsene Wenger and Jose Mourinho. He is also ranked second behind Ferguson in terms of official trophies won, with 38. He is widely regarded as one of the best coaches in the history of Romanian football, a top manager with a highly successful career. Sir Alex Ferguson is a Scottish former football manager and player, best known for managing Manchester United from 1986 to 2013. He is regarded as one of the greatest managers of all time and has won more trophies than any other manager in the history of football. Ferguson played as a forward for several Scottish clubs including Dunfermline and Rangers. Towards the end of his playing career he also worked as a coach, then started his managerial career with East Stirlingshire and St Mirren. Ferguson enjoyed a highly successful period as manager of Aberdeen, winning 3 Scottish League Championships, 4 Scottish Cups and UEFA Cup Winners' Cup in 1983. He briefly managed Scotland following the death of Jock Stein, taking the team to the 1986 World Cup. Ferguson joined Manchester United in November 1986. His first trophy came in 1990. Although they finished 13th, United won the FA Cup. The following year he won the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup, then in 1983 the first Premier League. He didn't stop there. Winning became an actual habit. The cherry on the icing on the cake was the 1999 season. His rivals Arsenal had won the FA Cup and Premier League double in the previous season. United went one better and won the treble, consisting of the FA Cup, League and the Champions League. During his 26 years with Manchester United, he won 38 trophies, including 13 Premier Leagues, 5 FA Cups and 2 Champions League titles. His honours list is quite remarkable. Ferguson is the longest serving manager of Manchester United, having overtaken Sir Matt Busby's record in 2010. He retired from management at the end of the 2013 season, having won the Premier League in his final season. Ferguson's leadership style is said to be tough, aggressive and loyal, with high ethical standards and commitment towards and from players. He is known to be a disciplinarian with a hard character and a stubborn man. Ferguson is the only manager to win top league honours and a double, both north and south of the border. He is also the last manager to win the Scottish League Championship with a non-Old Firm team, achieving this with Aberdeen in 1985. Ferguson is the second most decorated manager in European football competitions with 7 honours, behind only Carlo Ancelotti. Ferguson won the top division title in England a record 13 times. He is also the first manager in the history of the English League to win 3 consecutive league titles. He did this twice. A bronze statue of Ferguson designed by Scottish sculptor Philip Jackson was unveiled outside Old Trafford in November 2012. Aberdeen also have a statue of Sir Alex Ferguson, which was unveiled outside the Pittodrie Stadium in February 2022. Ferguson has also been presented with a maquette of the same statue. I've chosen these guys not for the number of trophies they've won, but for their unique managerial achievements. DJ Claude Deschamps is a French professional football manager and former player who has been the manager of the French national team since 2012. Nicknamed the Water Carrier, he played as a defensive midfielder for several clubs in France, Italy, England and Spain. These include Marseille, Juventus, Chelsea and Valencia, as well as Nantes and Bordeaux. He had a very successful playing career and won a fair amount of silverware, but the major highlights were winning the 1988 World Cup with France in his home country, and then 2 years later in 2000, he won the European Championships. He began his managerial career at Monaco in 2002, then Juventus, and back to France with Marseille. He was appointed by the FFF in 2012 and went on to win the 2018 World Cup and UEFA Nations League in 2020. His teams are also runners-up in the 2016 European Championships and the 2022 World Cup. Deschamps is only the 3rd man to win the World Cup as both a player and a manager, and only the 2nd as a captain. I doubt very much that any of you have heard of this guy. I admit that I didn't until now, but he is the most successful black football coach in the world. Pitso Mosimane is a South African professional football manager and former player. He is the current manager of Saudi Arabian club Al Ahly Jeddah. He is considered one of the greatest coaches in Africa. He is the former coach of Mamelodi Sundowns, Supersport United and Al Ahly. Born in Kagiso, Mosimane is one of the longest serving and most decorated coaches in all of South African football, having won multiple major trophies with Supersport United between 2001 and 2007 and Mamelodi Sundowns between 2012 and 2020. Mosimane started his senior career at Joma Cosmos. Then he played for Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates before joining Greek club Ioannidis to play under coach Nikos Alephantos. He later joined Belgian team KFC Rita Bela and Qatari club Al Sadd. Mosimane started coaching as an assistant coach to the under-11 players during his time at Belgium. Then he returned to South Africa to coach Mamelodi Sundowns reserves, and the rest is history. Mosimane has won 19 trophies. Guys, do you remember when I said that Barcelona appointed Guardiola without any experience? Well, this next guy is that times 100. No, to the power of 10. Better yet, times infinity. The experience level to achievement scale for this next guy is way off the chart.
Let me explain.
Lionel Scaloni is an Argentine professional football manager and former player who currently coaches the Argentina national team. A versatile player, he operated as a right back or right midfielder and played mostly for Deportivo La Coruña. As I said, this man has the least amount of coaching experience in relation to what he's achieved as a manager. Imagine this, you pass your driving test today and 6 years later you go on to win the Formula 1 World Championships. It's like that. In 2016, Scaloni joined Jorge Sampaoli's coaching staff at Sevilla. In 2017, Sampaoli joined the Argentina national team as boss and took Scaloni with him as an assistant. 1 year later, after a poor World Cup in Russia, Scaloni and Pablo Aimar were named as caretaker managers. In November 2018, Scaloni was appointed as a permanent coach until the Copa American in 2019. It was fair to say that the people didn't agree with this decision, again for reasons of lack of experience. However, Argentina finished third. Scaloni won the 2021 Copa America title, beating Brazil to win their first trophy in 28 years. In June 2022, Scaloni's Argentina won the Finalissima after beating Italy 3-0 at Wembley Stadium. And then the big one. Argentina won the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, beating France in a penalty shootout. Their first since Diego Maradona in 1986. And with that win, he also helped to end the Great Debate. You've just witnessed the successes and achievements of some of the best managers within the football world, both past and present. Some have won a few very important titles, whilst others have won virtually everything possible in the game. Ancelotti has a remarkable record, being the only manager to win 5 league titles in 5 different countries and to have won 4 Champions Leagues. Pep Guardiola has broken multiple records in various leagues across Europe and has given us a brand of football to admire. But for me, the best boss man is Sir Alex Ferguson. Yes, he's won more trophies than any other manager with 49, but there's a lot more to it. Following his success in Scotland, being the last manager to win the league with a team other than Rangers or Celtic, he took over a struggling Manchester United team and transformed the whole club, being successful both on and off the field. He's a manager with longevity, and he outlasted over 300 different managers during his time within the Premier League. It would be near impossible for there to be another manager like him. There will be good ones and successful ones too, but for a manager to remain at a single club for over a quarter of a century and to have unparalleled success, especially in today's modern game, I don't think so. Well done to Sir Alex Ferguson, and thank you for everything you've done for football. The job of a football manager is one of the most stressful jobs, whether you're managing at the top or managing in the lower leagues. Having to manage players and their egos whilst trying to get results, and having everybody believing in and contributing to your tactics, approach and philosophy, not just your club, this includes the fans, the press and the media alike. When things are going well, it's fun, and when it's not going so well, there are many people out there who are top dogs at FIFA career mode, and I've witnessed people absolutely lose their when things aren't going to plan. The same happens in the real world with constant manager out campaigns, and on the flip side, people becoming overexcited at the hint of a few good results. Some talk about people getting behind a wheel or something.
Ollie's at the wheel, man. He's doing it. He's doing his thing. Man United are back.
There are only a few proven top managers, but equally there are a number of hidden gems out there waiting to join the list of greats. But like players, they need time to develop, make mistakes and learn their craft. I wonder who will be next. Right, we are at the end of the video now. A long one, I know. But I hope you've enjoyed it and learnt a bit about some of your favourite managers. It'd be interesting to know if there are any managers that I've missed. Get in touch, let me know in the comments. Are there any up and coming managers that I needed to mention? Or any females? I'd definitely be interested. On the way out, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Remember, these guys want you to. Believe they did actually ask me to ask you. Anyway, goodbye now. Stay safe and see you next time on Football Central.